We're not live. We're live.
We're live now.
Hello SEO startups. Welcome back to our weekly Friday video. There's Kieran, I'm Andy. This week we're going to be focusing on something a little bit different. So last week we did the introduction to e-commerce SEO. So why e-commerce SEO is a little bit different, what you need to think about. A couple of weeks ago there was a leak at Google.
There was, yeah.
A leak, amazing.
Which is great for us
yes,
guys.
great for us, yeah, amazing. And you guys?
It wasn't fully focused on SEO,
No.
but it was more around user experience and how to kind of make your retail websites as good as possible. So we thought it linked quite nicely in the bits that we ran through last week with e-commerce. So yeah, we thought we'd kind of carry on the trend of e-commerce over to this week, run through some of the bits that came up, how they impact SEO as well, and then, yeah.
And I guess one thing to mention now is that some of these learnings, so some of these tips that Google give for e-commerce websites can be applied to other types of websites, whether it's a non-e-commerce focus, so a brochure site, a local website. Some of them are evergreen, so they'll help your conversion rates and your SEO as well.
Yeah, and there was a couple of other ones leaked as well that weren't just retail, so travel, finance, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
loads.
We'll post the links for all of them in the comments on here. Yeah, don't tell
We didn't do it.
Yeah, but yeah, so we'll get started then.
Good stuff. Okay, so we've broken it down into three key sections. Recommendations that they made for the homepage and for the website as a whole, category pages and product pages. So you can have a look at yours for each of those and apply these learnings where applicable. So we'll start with the homepage, right? I'll go through the homepage. So the key things that they mentioned was a kind of hamburger menu, a consolidated menu. So you don't see the entire menu because obviously it doesn't fit. And I suppose first thing to caveat, it's all from a mobile first point of view. So all these recommendations from mobile first. So they're not even focusing on desktop at all. So neither should you guys. Make sure your menu's consolidated. Store locator. So they said the best sites, especially those that had a physical presence, are where they had a map listing or somewhere that takes their store location. Now, we've mentioned local SEO before, but this is super important.
Yeah.
For retail websites, for e-commerce stores, anyone with a physical location, make sure you've got a store location that will help with your local SEO. Do you want to go through a few bits?
Yeah, so we've also got a search box as well that's quite high up on the page itself.
Yep.
From an SEO point of view, we need to make sure that realistically we'd say don't index search result pages, just because they don't really add any value from a user point of view. We could, if someone's looking for a specific type of product, say t-shirts, we'd rather send them into the t-shirts category page where we can add content, call to actions and products, rather than send them to a search result page for t-shirts where it may not be that tailored to what they're looking for.
Yeah, specifically this is from search, so not on the website itself. So in the search results, we don't want Google to index your search results because it's just duplicate content. And like Kieran said, we don't want to send people from Google straight into a search results page because they're not the most optimized, best highly converting pages. And Google doesn't want those as search results pages as well in its index. So if you have search results, our advice would be to no index all of those.
Add a static carousel as well. So a lot of people tend to have carousels on the e-commerce sites to show a range of different products.
And other sites.
Yeah. Well, yeah, on other sites as well. Make their carousels there static so they don't automatically scroll through.
Yep.
And the user can then flick through each of the images if they then want to see different
Which is
ones.
an interesting one, I didn't...
Yeah, I don't see the benefit. The only thing I can see from there is potentially on a load point of view.
I think what they say is that users, they test where people are looking when they look on the web page, and they find that they just weren't able to concentrate because it was moving around too quickly, which I get. I don't like when it does that too quickly. Yeah. Another one, category links. So it said, especially if you're a high inventory website, make sure you have links to your main categories. If you can get them above the fold, that's awesome on a mobile. Great for your SEO as well. More links from your homepage to your main category pages, and category pages on e-commerce websites where you optimize for your biggest keywords generally, like shoes, that sort of stuff. If you're
exactly.
Retail. And then the final one, interstitial. So an interstitial is a fancy word for a pop-up. It's something that overlays a web page. So you'll see it like when you go to a website and you might get an interstitial that says sign up for our newsletter or download our app. Now Google introduced an update, a penalty actually, that if anyone has an interstitial that takes up the entire page, they'll get penalised from an SEO point of view. So if you do have an interstitial, have it small at the bottom.
Either or make it load after about five seconds or so.
Yeah.
So when Google's already grabbed the information from the page, it doesn't then know it's there. If you really want to have it, then
just make sure it loads after 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And Google won't see it. It's a little cheap.
from a user point of view, they're not. They're quite annoying. I'd say they're
yeah, that's why Google did it, because they're annoying for the
pop-up. So yeah, be careful where you use them, I'd say.
Yeah.
Cool. So we come on to category pages next. So on the category pages, and this was something actually followed through quite a lot of the recommendations. Yeah. Category, products, checkout pages. It's this value proposition. So things like free delivery. Free promo codes, 10% off, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just something that's going to add additional value to try and get the person to check out. So we know what people are like. They'll have a look at stuff, they'll put stuff in the basket, and then the conscience kind of kicks in and they're like, actually, do I really need this? I'm going to purchase it. If they've got the additional value proposition in there as well, there's a better chance of like converting that user and getting them to purchase. So making sure that's high up on the page, essentially as high as you can possibly get it, really.
Yeah.
And then the next two are kind of from an SEO point of view, SEO recommendations, they're the same, but essentially allowing a user to change the number of products that are displayed on the page, and then also allowing them to filter by different things, so men's shirts, certain size, that sort of thing.
Yeah, price low to high, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll see this, it's really common on e-commerce sites. Every e-commerce site tends to have filters on. From an SEO point of view, we spoke about it last week, looking at things like Ajax filtering is going to be the best, so that essentially if they change the filter, it doesn't then upload the URL of the page. That's ideal world. If it does update the URL, then things like canonical links, back to the root category, that sort of thing, is going to have the best impact from an SEO point of view.
Yeah, definitely. And then pagination. So these things were mentioned by Google in the document as things that are great from a UX point of view. It didn't mention pagination, but I did want to mention it, because I don't know if we mentioned it last week, but if you have like a category page where you can have more than, you've got so many products that will go over more than one page. You want Google to basically go through all of those pages so it can see all the products, because then it's going to index them and it's going to show them up in the search results to your customers. You want to make sure that Google can see that paginated series of pages, so that page 1, page 2, page 3. And secondly, you want to make sure that it understands that paginated series of pages. So there's something you can use called rel next and rel previous, and it's a little bit of code that goes into, it's a meta tag basically, that goes into the head of the page, and it tells Google, this is page 1 of a paginated series, here's page 2, here's page 3. So the user doesn't see that paginated bit, but Google does, and it'll help you with your search results. So I just wanted to add that in, because we didn't mention it last week, and it's very important for e-commerce SEO.
I'd say that some things that people did tend to do previously was like no index, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, which is awful, because if that product isn't linked to anywhere else and it's only on page 2, Google can't see the product.
Yeah, it's got no internal link juice at all to it.
Exactly. So yeah, follow the link, follow the advice.
Follow the advice. Follow the link.
Follow the link.
Yeah.
So product pages, the same as the category pages, value proposition right at the top.
Yep.
And then you're looking at things like adding product info and trying to get the price above the fold as well.
Yeah, very important.
From a Google UX point of view, from an SEO point of view, product info and price doesn't have a massive impact. Obviously, making sure the product like titles like works well for you, keywords you're looking for, that sort of thing works well. But apart from that, it's not really
more
too
UX thing.
Yeah, and then making sure you've got schema on the page. So I think we touched on schema a couple of times last week, but schema around price, availability, product, reviews, images, everything.
Yep.
Adding that schema to that page just allows Google to understand that product a lot more, which will then, they'll show that product in more related searches based on what people are looking for, and can give them more information, so from a price point of view.
Cool, so then they did mention reviews. So interestingly, the way they phrased it was, if you have a lot of products, make sure you add reviews. I don't know why it matters if you have a lot of products.
No.
Maybe it's better for a user to be able to have a look and see reviews quickly. But reviews are really, really important. From a conversion rate point of view, social proof is really, really good. But also Google loves it. It gives them fresh content on product pages. It gives you long tail keyword opportunities as well, because sometimes your users may mention keywords that you don't even think of. And then that's added, obviously that's visible on the page to Google, and that helps with your rankings. Careful thing with reviews. Depends on how you display them. You want to make sure that they're indexable. So what that means is when Google calls the page, can it see those reviews? Some of the more popular review platforms you might use, like FIFO, Trustpilot, those sorts of things, they have multiple ways in which you can implement the reviews on your page. Stay away from your reviews being iframed into the page. Iframe basically means that the content's being pulled from elsewhere, and it won't be associated to your page, and Google won't see it properly. So you either want to hard code the reviews onto your page, or pull them through via JavaScript, which a lot of those review platforms do. It's an easy way of implementation, and Google's pretty good at picking up reviews when they're added via JavaScript. And then final bit, it said product description, make sure it was readable, which is obviously really, really important. It's like a sales tool for you, but then from an SEO point of view, make sure that it's unique copy on every single product page, that it makes sense. Try to aim for at least 30 to 50 words for each product.
Yeah.
If you've got thousands, it is tough, but the benefits are huge if you can get unique copy on every single page.
Yeah, definitely so. I think that's it.
That's it.
We'll post a link to the full thing so that you can have a look through if you want to from a US point of view. It's about 80, 90 pages long, so it's quite a read. But
that's I'm reading, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it.
Good stuff. Right,
Awesome.
You want to go round?
I'll go around.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching this week. We'll be back next week. We don't know what it's going to be on yet. If you've got any ideas, post a comment below, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.